Good morning.
Good afternoon.
Good night, and welcome to Jazzy Conversations. I'm Teef.
And I'm Gigi.
And we're excited to be here.
Listen, thanks for checking in.
Welcome to Jazzy Conversations. I'm Teef.
And I'm Gigi.
G, we are back on a roll.
Another week.
We're back. We're rolling, and we're having some fun.
Yes, sir.
All right. So today, amazing guest.
Yep.
I'm loving it because the goal that we have is
Yes.
for the next few weeks, I want to bring on some very influential Latinas.
Very good.
You're
You're looking at one.
Exactly. Yes, absolutely. So I sit with one every week.
Yes.
And I want to bring on some more from the community.
Yeah.
And so let me just say this, please, first, before I even go forward, please hit the subscribe button, give us a thumbs up.
Mm-hmm.
If you're tuning in, which we hope you guys continue to tune in from around the world, don't check out because we're just doing New Haven or Connecticut right now. Please stay in and watch the interviews and learn about our city and the influential people in our city.
And their stories are like your stories.
Absolutely.
So it's all right. Tune in anyhow.
And we're going to bring back the celebrities. Don't worry about that. We're going to bring them back. But right now, we have some amazing people with some amazing stories. And so today we're going to bring on another amazing story with Joe Rodriguez. But before we bring Joe on in another 3 minutes, we're going to do our games because we know you guys love the games. All right.
Y'all be out there rooting for me. Okay. It's a lot of pressure.
They do. They love Gigi.
I love you back.
All right. So we're going to go back. And since we're bringing people from the greater New Haven area on the platform, I'm going to ask questions about New Haven. So, Gigi. All right. Jesus.
This trivia stuff.
And you guys
right,
play along with us, okay?
Self ready.
All right. Here we go. Oh, wait. Where did it go? Come on. Okay. What New Haven street did Charles Dickens call the most beautiful street in America?
Elm Street.
Oh, so let me hit it. I was going to give you choices. You want to go?
No, give me my choices. Give me my choices.
Whitney Ave.
Okay.
Elm Street. Chapel Street. Hillhouse Avenue. The question was, I apologize. Excuse me. I apologize. What New Haven street did Charles Dickens call the most beautiful street in America?
So now that I have the maybe it's Hillhouse Ave. That's pretty lovely.
Gigi is wow. Look at Gigi. She's starting out 1-0. She's happy now, guys.
That's right.
She's
I
happy.
made the pivot. Okay.
She's happy.
What do we have?
Okay.
Mind you, I got the last one, the first one right only in the last week. So let's see.
Now, if you guys get this one wrong and you're from the state, you got a problem.
Man. I'm focused.
What Ivy League university is located in New Haven, Connecticut?
It's not my alma mater.
Okay, I got to give you the.
It's not my alma mater. No, I need nothing. It's not my alma mater, Columbia University, which is in the city of New York.
Oh.
It is Yale University.
Yale University is
That's
correct.
Yes. How's it get
Yale
that right?
University in New Haven, Connecticut. All right. What is New Haven's nickname? Now, here's your 4 choices.
I don't need them.
You tell
Elm
me.
City, baby.
Oh, okay.
I don't need them. I'm running through this.
She's on fire. She's
I'm a
happy.
native,
She's on
baby.
fire. Okay.
Play with me? Okay, let's
She's
go.
3-0. Now last week she was like this. She was upset. Okay, here we go.
I don't listen. Y'all know I don't like to lose.
She has
All right?
2 more questions.
Who likes to lose? Okay, let's go.
What treat was invented in New Haven? Okay, here we go. Donuts, Cool Whip, cheesecake, or lollipops?
Lollipops. I know that's right. I know it.
On fire.
That's
she
right.
is on fire.
That's right. We had a New Haven museum that actually had lollipops all out the front. I know my New. Well,
all right.
I don't.
Here
know
we go.
New Haven trivia.
The 5th question. What U.S. president was born in New Haven, Connecticut? George W. Bush, Gerald Ford, Bill Clinton, William Howard Taft. What U.S. president was born in New Haven, Connecticut?
Give me those options. I wish you could bring those
George
cameras.
W. Bush,
if I
Gerald
control
Ford,
the cameras, I'd be going,
Bill Clinton, or William Howard Taft?
I think George W. came to school here. Let's go with Taft.
You got another choice?
I get another chance.
Yeah.
It ain't Bill. It's you said so. It's George Bush and who's the other one?
Gerald Ford.
I'll go with Gerald Ford. I don't think so. Uh, uh, Gerald Ford. Who is it?
It is George W.
It
Bush. Yes,
is.
it is.
All right.
You
All
knew that one
right.
too.
All right.
All
Well,
right. Ladies and gentlemen,
yes.
I hope you're ready. You ready? Here we go. Welcome to Jazzy Conversations. I'm Teef.
And I'm Gigi.
And ladies and gentlemen, on the screen we have Joe Rodriguez, the CEO, president of Puerto Rican United. Joe, welcome to the show.
Welcome, welcome.
Thank you for having me. Buenas tardes, mi gente.
Buenas tardes, mi gente. Latino represente.
There you go. And you see the flag in the background.
I do.
Absolutely.
Great to have you.
Thank you for having me. Much love.
Now, Joe, my partner is actually Latina as well.
My parents are my father's from Panama, my mother's from Cuba. So that is my background.
Now, Joe, we're going to find out a little bit more about yourself on this podcast. Now, I told Gigi, I said, listen, this interview is very organic. You and I both don't know Joe. And so we're going to find out about Joe today together.
Yes.
We know your name comes up a lot in the Latino community. You do a lot for the people. As you can see, the flag in the back.
He's representing. We want to hear the work that you're putting in.
And every single year, downtown New Haven. So if you get a chance, you're watching this, doesn't matter if you're Puerto Rican or not, please come downtown New Haven because Joe hosts the Puerto Rican Day Parade in New Haven, Connecticut in July every year. Am I correct?
August. We actually just had it this weekend, believe it or not.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So we're going to get into that, but we're going to start at the beginning because I want to find out who you are, and people watching, the people that don't know outside of the community want to know who you are. So let's go back to the beginning. Let's go through the process. So tell us where you're born and raised. Tell us about your siblings. Tell us your background, and we're going to lead all the way up till today, what you do. All right?
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I appreciate it. So again, Joe Rodriguez, birth name is Joseph Edwin Rodriguez. Most folks call me Joe, Joey. I was born here in New Haven. I'm a New Haven kid.
Okay.
Born and raised for the most part. I love New Haven. I love Puerto Rico, but I also love New Haven since my roots are here in this city. Believe it or not, my father is Puerto Rican, but my mom's Italian. A lot of folks don't know that about me unless they know me personally. I'm one of four. I'm the oldest. Most of my life has been on the east side of the city. Lived in Fairhaven Heights.
Me too. That's where I grew up. We were neighbors for many years. Then it must be. I grew up there.
Yeah, we must have been. All the salsa music parties you probably heard was probably me growing up. But yeah, no. For most of my life, I grew up on the east side of the city. There's something I know as New Haveners, I know we have love for all our communities across the city, and I'm not immune to that. I have much love for the East Side, much love for Fairhaven growing up. And as you all may or may not know, growing up, Fairhaven, it was a tough neighborhood. Low income, low income family growing up with a lot of drugs and crime on Grand Avenue, Ferry Street. So I saw a whole lot growing up. But I'm here to this day by the grace of God, by the love of my family, by the love of my friends, and I love New Haven. So I often tell people, I could choose to live anywhere I want, but I'm a firm believer in community development, right? Living here and helping build the city. So I'm not going nowhere.
Not going nowhere. Put
beautiful.
Down roots. I love it.
So you said you're from New Haven, so this is new to us. Tell us the schools you went to, because you told us where you live, but what elementary, middle school, and high school you went to?
Yeah, so I went to, back then they called it St. Peter's Elementary and Middle School, but then it's changed over to Edgewood. So St. Peter's was over on the boulevard.
Yep.
And then they moved over to Edgewood in the Edgewood community out that way. So I ended up going to Edgewood School for 8th grade. Went to high school in the community.
Yeah, HSC.
So I'm HSC grad. And it wasn't until later on, I actually, because right after high school, I started working to support my family. So it wasn't until later on that I went back to school and I ended up going through the criminal justice program at Albertus Magnus. But yeah, public schools through and through.
That's right.
Um, HSC shout out. I often visit the school to speak to kids. It's been a few years, but I love visiting HSC. It's still like a justice driven, and I believe
Right.
social justice driven high school. Even back then, when I was in high school, I owe a lot to the teachers then because a lot of the activism that I'm engaged in today, I think started at HSC.
That's
Oh wow,
beautiful. That is
beautiful.
great.
Now I don't want to go too far. I want to back up. Okay, that's beautiful because we're gonna come back there. Let's go back. So Fairhaven, you were telling us how it was growing up there in the 80s, 90s for you. Was it 80s, 90s?
Um, no, or 90s. I'm only 37,
Okay,
so
so in the 90s.
um,
So
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 so yeah,
so back in that era, growing up, which we know about in the
That's
you may
right.
look
Fairhaven area.
older, but
What do you say? I'm sorry.
No,
you may
you
look
look.
older, but
Oh
No,
no
no,
no
you
no
look.
no no!
no,
You
You
look young. You
you.
I'm
look
still
young.
a young buck.
No no no
You
no no.
young buck, and you look it.
So because you're such an influential person to the community, that's why I want to bring the story up to where we are now. But what did it look like for you growing up in Fairhaven? What did it teach you? You said something by the grace of God. Or are you a Christian? Did you grow up spiritually? Tell us the background leading up your story. I want to.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So, growing up, it was, I was raised Catholic,
Okay.
baptized, but on the Italian side and on the Puerto Rican side, while my grandmother and family on the Puerto Rican side were also Catholic, they didn't go to church every weekend. It was more, spiritual and believing. And I remember my grandmother, every time we would go to Puerto Rico, my grandmother would bless my rosary before I came back to Connecticut and Puerto Rico. But Fairhaven was, and I think anybody who lived in, or who lives in Fairhaven, the Hill, it's a melting pot. But I remember growing up, I would take, back in high school, we had the bus passes, so I would have to walk from Market Street where I grew up, past Clay Street, which was a notorious street that was sort of infamous for drugs and illegal activity. I would have to pass Clay Street, get to Grand Avenue, take the bus. So I was exposed to a lot of that as anybody, I guess, growing up in an urban hub would. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I guess early on, I saw it, and with that, seeing it, and then with the love of my family, it was like, I know what not to do, right?
Right.
Some people, depending on their environment, may gravitate towards it because they know people that sort of are within that life. But my family did a good job of, despite me seeing it every day, they shielded me, loved me, supported me. So I knew what not to do, if that
Right,
makes
right.
sense.
No,
Absolutely.
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 So, did you have, Joe, a lot of friends that you saw that did get caught up in a lot of what we know was going on in Fairhaven and a lot of our neighborhoods in New Haven?
Absolutely. Listen,
Yeah.
I'll be real. Like, I have no shame in my game. I tell people I had, family members that were in gangs and, family members that graduated with, doctorate degrees. So I have a
Yeah.
mix of everything in my family. So yeah, absolutely. I had friends, family members that, unfortunately were caught up. But again, I was exposed, at a very early age to sort of positive influences. I remember I think, a freshman at HSC, and there was someone knocking on the door on Market Street where I grew up most of my life, and my mom. I was a politician running for an office. And my mom was like, "Listen, I'm cooking dinner. I got 3 kids. I don't have time to talk, but
Right.
maybe my son might talk." So I actually am going up to the door, and I gave the politician an earful of what I saw from a
That's
high school
brilliant.
perspective. And believe it or not, that gentleman he's still active to this day was Kevin Diaz.
Oh.
He was our local alderman at the time in Fairhaven.
Yeah.
He's a big time bomba y plena
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
performer. But I gave Kevin an earful, and Kevin was like, "Well, you have a lot to say, so how about you be about it, right?" And Kevin actually dragged me out. I started working on Kevin's campaigns, and it was just sort of like a domino effect. I met Kevin, and he exposed me to other leaders, and then the rest was history.
That is a great story.
Yes.
Just answering the door. I love his responsiveness to you. That is brilliant. That is brilliant.
You know, and I give him respect because let's be real, not everybody who holds a political office would have perhaps reacted that way.
That's right.
They would have taken this 15-year-old at the time, like, yeah, okay, kid, you know, but Kevin was like, no, be about it. Here's my card, call me. And again, he exposed me. That campaign was one of my first campaigns that I actively worked on. And then through that, it all connects. Kevin was involved with the Louisa Festival, which was a long time running Puerto Rican festival on Longworth. And then that's how I sort of getting exposed to the cultural and art sort of a space, which occupies sort of where I'm at right now.
Nice.
Wow. I don't want to jump too far. I want to, wow, this is, like you said, this story is great already.
It
So you can
is.
take me wherever you want to go.
No, I'm loving it. I mean, this is, you're giving me the big bang, but I'm like, wow, this is great. Now, let me ask you this question. You grew up in Fairhaven. You chose HSC instead of Wilbur Cross. Why was that? No, I just details
I know,
because most of the people went to Wilbur Cross with us that lived in Fairhaven. I want to know why such a small school. Why you choose?
You know, honestly, if I remember correctly, I think it was going to St. Peter's / Edgewood. It was a small school. So I was exposed, you know, sort of to a smaller environment.
HSC had that.
Okay.
Yeah, so HSC was a very small school. For those who don't know, HSC is one of the smaller high schools in our city, a magnet high school. You know, Cross Hill had anywhere from 1,000, 1,500 kids. So I think it was a easier transition going from a small elementary middle to a small, you know, high school. And then, you know, going back, you know, I was that kid in middle school who was president of the student body and debate club. And so HSC at the time I knew was focusing on social justice. So again, it was an easy transition to go to HSC.
Yeah. Wow. I want to just explain to the people that are watching that are not from New Haven, because we've got a lot of listeners outside of the state, but that in New Haven, we've got choice schools where it's not just a neighborhood school, but there are options where you can go. So you can live in this neighborhood and opt to go in a school that is outside of your neighborhood that's based on a theme. So thematically, it fit for you. It was the right size for you. And you continue to shine in high school. I see debate club, you're doing school leadership. All of this is growing for you.
Yeah, no, it worked out, and because I'm a firm believer of open choice and allowing kids to find themselves. And I think the beauty of open choice is in having a variety of magnet schools with different issue areas allows students to explore in high school and explore what they want to do in their future.
So Joe, Kevin comes to your door. He has a kind conversation with you. You're a 15-year-old kid, freshman, right? Am I correct?
Yeah, if I'm not a year right, yeah, so the first switch.
And so it puts this bug in you. The bug instead for you was not basically like the average kid that go to high school. Okay, I'm gonna play a sport. The bug bit you to get into politics or kind of become an activist, kind of like, you know, in the community.
It was activism. Again, I was always one, even back in, you know, middle school, being involved in student government, and even freshman year of high school. You know, I always spoke up. You know, listen, when you have a Puerto Rican Italian family, you know, at the dinner table, you have to speak up and be loud because you won't be heard.
You will not be heard.
So I think some of that is from my family, just being loud and, you know, trying to get attention. So I wouldn't necessarily say politics, you know, but certainly activism at the time, right? Because when he approached me, you know, I talked about walking to school and seeing the drugs on Clay Street. I talked about, you know, some of the quality of life issues that I see personally growing up on Market Street. So I think it was more an activism angle that I approached it. But as I quickly learned, all politics is local. You know, we all play a part in this democracy, be it activism, you know, the elected official, we all play a part. So
now, Gigi, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, please. Go ahead.
So now we go from there. You graduate high school. You said you got married, or you said you started working. What did you say? I'm sorry.
No, I started working.
Start
So
working.
I started working. Again, I came from a low income family. My mom's a school bus driver. My dad was on Social Security, so it was a low income family. So I quickly started working, and luckily because of the connections I made throughout my high school tenure, right, being active with Kevin and then exposing myself to other elected officials and community leaders at the time. I built already, believe it or not, by senior year of high school, I built a solid network of people that I was exposed to that are doing amazing things in our community, be it on the elected political side or community side. And as I graduated, I knew I had to work. I had to make a living and support my family. So I got lucky and connected with a local non-for-profit at the time that many of those leaders connected me to. They were looking for a community outreach organizer, and I was right out of high school. I was looking to work, and it just sort of it worked out for me.
Right.
Wow.
Instead of like just doing, the immediate after school job, you went into something that had a career pathway for you, right? It fed into your passion. Can you tell us how that continued to develop? So you did that right out of high school.
Right.
How did it continue to develop and grow for you?
Again, I'm a firm believer in networking and exposing yourself to positive environments. And again, as I look back at my career, and I know I have a lot more to accomplish, but if I look back at my career thus far, it's been like a spider web, just everything just like connected itself. So working on that campaign, connecting myself with other campaigns, being an active student at HSC, continuing to work on different campaigns, volunteering within the Fairhaven community. It led me to that non-for-profit, and then doing community organizing on behalf of the nonprofit, which I was already doing for free back in high school. I already sort of laid the groundwork working on those campaigns, doing community work. It just helped me grow professionally.
Right.
It helped me grow professionally, as well as exposing myself to a larger network, because I used to work for Hill Development Corporation, which is in the Hill section of New Haven. So growing up, I was exposed to Fairhaven community. Now I'm working at 19 or so, 20 at Hill Development Corporation in another community within New Haven. So I was exposing myself to different communities.
Now, in the Latino community, you've developed this reputation to be extremely influential. You use your connections. I love your story. I'm sitting back listening. You started your connections in high school, and they really helped you out to build your platform. Now, I know the Puerto Rican United is a big
Yeah.
festival, but now, how did you go about building that or starting that from scratch? Was it you and a team? What does that look like? Because
Yeah,
we
no,
have
it's definitely a
thousands of people
team.
down there. We have
Yeah, no,
thousands of people.
listen, I'm the president of the board of directors, but it's truly a labor of love. We have a board of directors of 13. We're all volunteer.
Okay.
We all have families. We're all professionals in our own right. We all work full-time jobs. So I serve as the president of the board, but again, that's a volunteer role. But it came about because there was a 10-year hiatus with any Puerto Rican parade and/or festival. I think the last parade we had in New Haven was back in 2009. And then I think around 2008, 2009, it was the same time that the Louisa Festival on Longworth started to reshape itself. They moved from Longworth to Sports Haven parking lot. And then I think from there it dissolved. So it was about 10 years that we as a Puerto Rican community didn't have a celebration in our city, which was odd because we have a deep history since the 1970s of celebrating our culture. So it
And
was
a
a
large
20.
population, like a considerable population here in New Haven.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, we have about 25,000 Puerto Ricans in the city of New Haven. We're 54% of the total Latino population in New Haven. We're 54%. And there's 90,000 Puerto Ricans just within the New Haven, Milford metro area. So it's a large population. It's a growing population. So I think many Puerto Ricans growing up in New Haven, like I did, we remembered going to the Green for the parade, or we remembered going to Longworth for the Louisa Festival. So I was approached by other folks in the community, and they're like, listen, you volunteered, you're active, you're a leader. Why can't you relaunch it? And I was like, hold up. It's a lot of work. I have a 13-year-old daughter now, right? So back in 2015, right? She wasn't, what's to do the math there? She wasn't, she was very young at the time. So, I said, we'll do it, but we're going to enter this journey together. And I remember like it was yesterday, I put on social media that I'm considering doing this with two other gentlemen. Shout out to Edwin Martinez and Jonathan Rivera, because it was them two, along with myself, who founded the festival. We got together and said, all right, we're going to do this, but it's going to be a team effort. And if the community wants us to do this, then you have to join us in this journey. So meet me at the Greek Olive Restaurant, which is no longer there on Longworth, but I said, meet me at the Greek Olive Restaurant. And if we get a turnout, we'll do it. And 20 people showed up from the community. From that Facebook call. Wow. And that was it. 1 year later, in 2016, was the first festival. It took us 1 year to establish a 501c3, raise the funds, and a year later, we had our first festival in over 10 years.
And how many people turned out to that one? Do you recall around?
I think we had about maybe 3,000 to 5,000.
The first
2016.
year? Wow.
People were waiting. People were waiting, hungry for it.
Yeah.
So Joe, let me ask you, how did it feel to be the person that was approached to reinvigorate this festival? I mean, because it's one thing to do it. Certainly it was daunting. You expressed that. But how did it feel to be considered the guy to do this, to bring this out?
Listen, I tell people I like to do the work, and if there's a need, let's do it. And again, it was Jonathan Rivera who first approached me and said, we should do something. And I kind of brushed him off. I'm like, listen, I don't know. I don't think I have time. I'm trying to build my career. I'm about to go back to school. I have my daughter. I don't think I have time for this. And he and others just kept saying, no, we need to do it. You need to be there, And like I said, we pulled it off. It was important for me, to make it happen. And I knew I had the network that I built right over the years between the elected officials that I've met, the festival organizers that I've met over the years, the Puerto Rican leaders that I've associated with over the years. I knew I had the network to at least help get it going. I didn't think from 2015 till now I'll still be the president of the board. But it was a labor of love, and it felt good. I think that was the first year, if I'm not mistaken, that Monica Puey won the gold medal for Puerto Rico in tennis. And we have Plena Libre on the green performing for the first festival in 2016. And then they announced Monica won the gold medal as we're having the festival.
And the crowd goes wild.
It went crazy. There's actually a video circulating on YouTube where they show our reaction. It was amazing. So it felt special. It did special, just a sense of pride, a sense of accomplishment, a sense of identity. We're here. We're not going anywhere. It felt good. It really did.
Joe, you were the right person for the job. If you look back and look at your story and you watch this video, it goes back to when you were 15 years old. Not everyone can make the connections you made. You have to see that. I'm sitting here listening to your story.
The charisma, the energy,
yes,
the passion.
not everyone. And even if the person knows the same person doesn't mean that same person is going to do what they'll do for you. So you were the right person for the job. So kudos for you. I know it's, like I said, this year was like 7,000 or whatever. Some people out there, just amazing. Continue to do what you do. Like I said, we were called and said, listen, you guys are doing something in the Latino community for the next 4 or 5 weeks. You have to have Joe Rodriguez on. So that's why you're up here. We want to thank you for coming on our platform.
Absolutely.
What else you got going on? Tell us anything else you got going on. This is your open dialogue time. Tell us.
Yeah, I appreciate it. And, like I said, the first part of my career, it was activism, working on campaigns. I served on the board of aldermen for a few years as well. And I've really, in recent years, since the creation of the festival, have found sort of a new passion, or a second passion, I should say. And that's this space that I occupy myself, which is art and culture. And in today's, society which has so much political divide,
Yep.
I found that we can create bridges and create change within the art space, believe it or not.
Absolutely.
And we're doing it each and every day through, through the festival and our call to action. And, this, for example, and you all have perhaps seen it, a lot of folks talk about, this, this political divide that might exist between, black and brown or, Latinos, that's a political divide. That doesn't exist within the day-to-day community. And, this year in particular, the Elm City Freddie Fixer Parade reached out to us, which is one of New England's or nation's or one of our oldest Black parades.
That's right.
Absolutely.
That's
And we
right.
said we're
Shout
going to
out
be
to the Freddie Fixer
presente.
team.
Yeah, shout out. They had an amazing event, and it was important for us as Puerto Rican leaders, as a Puerto Rican festival, to say we're going to stand with our brothers and sisters
That's
at the
right.
Freddie Fixer. And we had about 20 parade organizers marching in that parade.
That's what it's about.
You know,
That
And that's hot.
unity,
That's
that
hot.
unity is what
Yeah.
it's about.
Go ahead, Jay.
No,
I'm sorry.
I just want to say that I agree with you, and I love this idea. Right, that's what arts is for. It's for waking our senses. It's for unifying people. It's for, and you're doing that work. You are, as Steve said, you're the man for the job.
You're the man for the job.
Yeah.
We've interviewed. You're our third Hispanic that we've brought on the show, and I say that respectfully. And the first person was Abraham Hernandez. His story is amazing
Yes.
in the Fairhaven community. He said the same thing in the
I was
Fairhaven
just
community.
gonna say it's another Fairhaven leader. So shout out to Fairhaven.
Absolutely. And we also have Dr. Madeline Negron, who's just
Yes,
on.
that's the new superintendent of New Haven
Absolutely.
Public Schools.
And
Yeah.
now we have yourself, Joe Rodriguez, who's doing amazing things
Yeah.
in the community.
I bet you I was the first one with the flag, though.
Yeah,
You are.
You're the first, but not the last. You're the first, but not the last.
Yes.
And we just want to thank you, Gigi and
Yes.
I. Just want to thank you for coming on the podcast. We got a quick question though to ask you. Now here we go. Check this out.
That's right.
My partner has 3 important questions to ask you. Now you got to think about them before you say it. Okay.
All right.
All right. Here we go.
One question, 3 potential answers. Your top 3 podcasts that you listen or subscribe to. Subscribe to or listen.
Oh man.
And don't look too far, Joe. Look.
So first and foremost, right here, we
That's
live
right,
with you
Jazzy
also.
Conversations,
there.
right here.
Shout out to
It's
the
a bit of a
work that
trick
you all
question,
doing.
Joe. So,
You know what? This podcast is 1, 2, and 3.
There you go.
You're
See, I told you, smart guy. Guy.
Maybe you should go into politics.
I love it, Joe. Joe, thank you. Thank you
Yes.
so much on behalf of Jazzy.
Can I give a quick shout out?
Oh, please. Go ahead.
Absolutely.
Next year, so it's a labor of love, and the New Haven Puerto Rican Festival, Puerto Ricans United Board of Directors, we're one of many parades and festivals across Connecticut. 2 years ago, we created a coalition of parade and festival committees with committees that, are from Hartford, Meriden, Bridgeport, Waterbury, New London. And next year, in 2024, we will celebrate 60 years since the first Puerto Rican parade in the state of Connecticut, which was held in Hartford. So next year, we'll be celebrating 60 years since that first parade in Hartford. And this September 10th, Sunday in Hartford, our brothers and sisters will celebrate over 30,000 strong with the Hartford County Puerto Rican Day Parade. You are all invited to go celebrate and show love.
Y'all come on out. September 10th, you said, in Hartford.
Sunday, yep. So
Wonderful.
it's a Sunday.
Downtown Hartford.
Yes.
Wow. Joe, this is amazing.
Yes.
Listen, on behalf of Jazzy Conversations, I'm Teef.
And I am Gigi.
Have a great night, Joe. Thanks for coming on. Take care.
Yes.
You too.
This guy was great.
Joe, it takes that kind of charisma to do the work that he's doing. Listen, people don't know how much work behind the scenes goes into pulling off the kinds of things that he's doing.
And
with
that's
these
why we wanted to
festivals.
have him on the platform. But
Yeah.
think about it. He was 15.
15
I
when
wanted
he got
to point
started.
that out. Like, he was like, listen, this guy came to my door.
Yeah. And he gave him an earful.
And I get, and he did not know what he was getting into. And he said it kind of started from there.
Yeah.
And because he used the word grace, because God's
the
grace.
grace
I don't
of
know if he
God.
understood what he said that, but he was
Right.
like, I started getting connections. Basically, that other 15-year-old kids wasn't getting. I was loving the
That's
story.
right.
I
That's
was
right.
loving his story. I was like, wow,
Good
this
guest.
is great.
Another, I love all our guests.
Absolutely.
Another good
Guys,
one,
I hope you
Steve.
enjoyed it. Next week, we're going to bring on another strong Latino. All right? On behalf of Jazzy Conversations, I'm Teef.
And I'm Gigi.
Have a great night. Take care, guys.